there is a report going out that you guys might have seen out there online. It's this one here. You can take a look at that. Sam Raimi is the top choice for the director for Avengers Secret Wars. I do not believe this report. Just to be clear, I'm not calling anybody a liar. I'm just saying I don't believe the report. That's all. I'm certain whoever is reporting it absolutely probably heard that. I'm just saying I don't believe what they heard. That being said, it did raise an interesting thing for me. Like, we know who's directing Avengers Kang Dynasty. It's Shang-Chi's Destin, right? And I believe he's going to do a great job directing that thing. But we still don't know who's directing Avengers Secret Wars. And I thought it would be fun to take a minute with this report going around as the backdrop as who really should be the 5 people that would be great picks to direct Avengers Secret Wars. Now, I want to make it very clear. There are probably 30 or 40 names that would be great picks to direct this. That 30 or 40 sets of directors or individual directors that would probably could do a great job with it. These are the 5 that stand out to me, though. And then I'm going to go over my list first, then we're going to go over and hear Chris's list. And I'm going to start off my list with the one the report is going around about, Sam Raimi. I think Sam Raimi, while I don't believe the report that he is currently the front runner to do it, I believe he would be an excellent choice. And here's why. First of all, he's made 2 of the greatest comic book films of all time with Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Like, he was one of the pioneers of the new golden age of comic book movies. He was making great comic book movies before comic book movies were the biggest force in the world, right? But he also knows how to, interweave great story with stuff like that. Army of Darkness. If you've never seen his little horror film, Drag Me to Hell, it is a really well done little horror film. And then, of course, everybody, you can complain all you want about Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. I rewatched it again recently. It was better than I remember it being. Still not as good as the first Doctor Strange, and still a number of things in it that really irritated me. But overall, there was a lot of really good stuff in there. The Scarlet Witch stuff to me was absolutely fantastic. And the reality is, Sam Raimi was able to come in and make a sequel that made significantly more money than the first film did and almost cracked $1 billion. Not to mention, it was the first Marvel film that got made where Kevin Feige basically kept his hands off it. Because he got so busy with all the Marvel projects, he needed a director that he trusted could just run with it, right? And when you've got a filmmaker that Kevin Feige trusts that much, and it's the director of Spider-Man 2, still to this day, one of the greatest comic book films ever made, I think he'd be a really interesting choice to do it. I mean, obviously, I would hope for a better movie than Doctor Strange 2, but he's clearly shown he can do better movies than Doctor Strange 2. I think he would be a really interesting pick. All right. Next up on my list is Sam Mendes. And I know this one's going to strike some people really oddly, but I will always remember Kevin Feige telling me, and you guys saw the interview I did with him when he said, a good storyteller is a good story. That's the first thing Kevin Feige looks for, is a good storyteller. When you look at films like 1917, like Road to Perdition, like American Beauty, and then you take that storytelling sensibility and then wrap it up into an action spy thriller like James Bond, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe ended up being the #1 box office James Bond film of all time, was Skyfall. You take a world like the Marvel Cinematic Universe with a guy who has that kind of storytelling sensibilities, has shown the ability to wrap it into a thrilling action movie as well, with a great iconic action hero of cinema for decades and decades and decades and decades. Imagine what he could do in something like a Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's worked with the biggest stars. He's completely respected amongst all the actors in the business. So you walk into a set like an Avengers set that's going to be crowded with big name stars. This is a director who's not going to be fazed by any of that. I think Sam Mendes would be an incredible choice to direct a Secret Wars. All right. Let's go into my third pick here. And this is the obvious one. But the Russo brothers. I mean, look, you can make an argument that they directed 4 of the best Marvel films there are. With Captain America Winter Soldier, Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. Now, the one thing I will say that puts a little bit of a caution up for it, is that since them working in the MCU, their post working with Kevin Feige stuff has not been great. Like Gray Man was terrible. Cherry was terrible. Despite the fact that they had some of their great MCU cast come along for both of those movies. So you got to wonder how much of it is Joe and Anthony. And by the way, Joe and Anthony have been in my studio multiple occasions. They are fantastic. I love these guys. But I got to be objective here that since working with Kevin Feige, the product has not been to the same level. But put them back working with Kevin Feige again, recapture that magic of Civil War, of Infinity War. I mean, and what a triumphant return that would be. You know, gone that long and then coming back for the next big Avengers film. That could be a great story. And that would make these guys an absolutely wonderful choice to do it. Let me go outside the box a little bit here to a couple of names that a couple of people might not be thinking about. Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, the two guys who directed the first John Wick film together, went on to do some incredible stuff. Chad went on to direct John Wick 2, 3, and 4, looking at doing things like The Highlander and The Ghost of Tsushima. You've had David Leitch, who's been able to go on and do things like Deadpool 2, Bullet Train, Atomic Blonde, all movies I really, really enjoy. But here's the important thing. All of them have a cool story. When you look at John Wick, what are we talking about even more than the gun fu in John Wick? We talk about the mythology they've built in those movies. When you look at a Deadpool 2, you got these great characters that make the action and the humor work so well. Bullet Train was an absolute delight of a film. Atomic Blonde was maybe a little bit more advanced and intricate for its own good. They might have actually hurt the film a little bit, but still, these are guys who completely have a handle. Maybe they are the maestros right now of on-screen action, but also tell good stories, heightening and using characters over action. And that's why I think you put now they've been working independently and individually lately. But I think you put these two guys together again for an Avengers film. I think that could be really spectacular. Now, these are in no particular order. So this fifth one in my final is not necessarily the top of my list, but I love this choice. Travis Knight. His filmography, as far as being in the director's chair goes, is more limited. That's the strike on Travis Knight. He is more limited there. A lot of experience as a producer, more limited stuff as a director. But I am in love with the feature films that he's directed. Kubo and the Two Strings was universally beloved. And then he came into live action, into a dead, decaying corpse of a franchise known as the Transformers, and did a Bumblebee movie and killed it. He put heart back into Transformers. He brought, I know this sounds weird to say, humanity back into Transformers. He really legitimately told a beautiful story in one of the most, up to that point, the most satisfying Transformers. I'll say this is the best Transformers movie ever made. Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie ever made. And so he was able to step into a high pressure, high recognizable, and was completely in the toilet franchise and actually breathed life into it, made it relevant again, made just a spectacular movie. You take a guy who can do that and put him into something like an Avengers movie, I would love to see what the results would be. So again, my 5 picks would be Sam Raimi, Sam Mendes, the Russo brothers, Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, and Travis Knight. And I think I missed Sam Mendes in there somewhere. Anyway, those are the picks that I would have. Again, I'm acknowledging there are probably many other directors who would also do a bang-up great job that I'd be thrilled if I heard they're directing it. But these are the 5 that I'm going to pick out. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, DraftKings. Can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, right? Well, good thing that's over. NFL is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you just bet $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Check the app to see what you get. So download now and use the code Campea to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code Campea only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. So, Chris, let me throw it over to you. You've had a little bit of time to ponder on this. Who are 5 names or sets of names that if you found out Marvel's just announced that this person or these people are directing Avengers, Secret Wars, would get you really excited?
Well, first we have to address that Secret Wars is kind of a shit show of a comic.
And there's different iterations of it. There's different versions of it.
It's a lot of these big annuals, right? They are meant to just sell things. That's the big thing. It's big crossover events, big fights. We've got the Beyonder and Battle World. So we do need someone who can just deliver some epic, fun fights and really big emphasis on the fun and balancing out all these different characters, right? So like you, the Russo brothers were the obvious one to me because we've seen them do that before. But it might be a situation, too, where, like, John Watts kind of took a break from the superhero genre because I would put him on this list.
After doing the 3 Spider-Man films, and he's got...
he was supposed to do Fantastic Four, and then was like, I need a break.
But he's got the new Star Wars show. Yep. What's the one with the kids?
Not the Acolyte.
Not the Castaway. Not the Castaways.
The one with Jude Law.
Yeah, Jude Law's in it.
What is it?
I just know Jude Law's in it. I can't think of the name of it.
But right now he's doing that. He could be I like that.
But he would be a really, really great guy in there. But again, I don't know if he wants to do this. Same with like Daniel Day Cretton. He's got so much stuff going on. So Russo brothers, it makes sense because they balanced it, but maybe they won't want to sign up because they have done so many Marvel movies already. So other 2
Skeleton
people.
Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
Thank you.
I put these 2 people kind of together because maybe they could both do this or maybe one or the other, but it's the same reasoning. Kate Herron or Matt Shakman. So the directors of Loki or WandaVision. Because WandaVision, obviously the most emotionally resonant show that we've had throughout the Marvel Universe. While there's not tons and tons of action there, there's such great character development. And I feel like he's somebody, too, who could really work well with some writers and really get some meat out of this kind of bombastic throw-in-punches story and find some actual nuance in there. With Kate Herron, say what you will about Loki. I think she juggled a lot of high-end concepts and also stuck the landing on making sure this show made sense in the universe at this time. That show did a really great job, I think, of balancing out, hey, here's how timelines work. Here's what's going on with Kang. We're setting him up to be this big bad. I think it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And then other movies have kind of devalued it by going, but actually maybe time works like this, but maybe the multiverse is this, and who knows about the quantum realm. So I think those folks could be pretty good too.
I love bringing up Matt Shakman. The one thing that could get in the way of it, sadly, doesn't undermine how much I love the pick though, is that he is doing Fantastic Four. So I wonder if I don't know, maybe that'll be his lead up into Secret Wars,
Just
right?
like how we had kind of the Winter Soldier stuff and we moved forward with that with the Russos, could happen there. Now this one is only if this is supposed to be like a symbolic closing of Marvel. Bring back Jon Favreau. Have him finish what he started.
I like that.
Right? Full circle, full circle. I think that'd be really lovely. Again, not Iron Man 2 didn't fire on all cylinders for everybody. I don't dislike it as much as other people do. I don't think it's great, but I think it's got its merits. But I mean, that first Iron Man is still such an untouchable movie. I'd love to see that full circle moment. And then my wild card is Peter Jackson.
Wow.
Because right now what he's working on is an untitled Tintin follow-up project, since Spielberg hasn't been working on that.
They
Supposedly.
say he's supposedly been doing that for last 7 years.
It's all I want, though, too, because I really love the first Tintin
He's
movie.
mostly been doing documentary stuff.
Yeah, he's
lately,
just
right?
done a piece on the Beatles, and he's been producing mostly on that end of things. I think it'd be really great to bring him into the fold. Obviously, he handles visual effects like nobody's business. He can do really great storytelling. He can do epic battle scenes. And frankly, I feel like the guy could use a win as a director right now, too. The last few things he directed, Mortal Engines, the Kong films.
Well, he didn't direct Mortal Engines.
Oh, he just produced it?
He produced it. Yeah, that was a bad
And
film.
it wasn't a great movie.
Yeah, no.
But there's been a few things that he's been associated with that I think kind of, I don't know, not diminish what he's done because he's such an incredible director. But I don't think we've seen anything really of the same caliber since those Lord of the Rings films.
And I
especially
think the
since
Hobbit
ones got weighed down.
The Hobbit films, I think, not only were they a big step down. By the way, I still get a kick out of the Hobbit films. I still like them, but they are a big step down from the Lord of the Rings films. I think that emotionally really killed him.
Yeah.
You know, and to the point that we really haven't seen him do really anything majorly significant in the director's chair since then. What a comeback that would be.
It'd be pretty cool. So those are mine.
Now, I should point out, there are some names that we left out of there because they would be pie in the sky. Would I love to see a Steven Spielberg direct one?
Hell yeah.
Of course. He's the greatest sci-fi director of all time. Of course. But it would never happen. Would I love to see what a Martin Scorsese would do with this non-cinema stuff? Of course I would, but that's not something that is ever going to happen. Would I love to see Christopher Nolan do it? Of course I would, but he's never going to do that. So I purposely left out like some of the big obvious major names just because there's no chance in hell I don't think that would ever happen. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What are some names, maybe some dark horse names that we're not throwing around there? Like if I had an honorary list, finally saw Equalizer 3, I'd put Antoine Fuqua on my maybe list.
I am so excited to see that movie. Logan hasn't seen any Equalizers, and he was like, "What the hell is this? Looks like amazing."
Oh, you should see what he does to eyes. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so scared of that part.
Yeah, there's no safe body part
No.
with Denzel in these movies. But I mean, what are some other names you guys would throw on that list as well? Would love to see them. Jump down to the comments and let us know. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.